Good morning, everyone. I just woke up, well, about a half hour ago, but it is now 5:30 in the morning. And we still have 10.84 volts. It's currently running, pulling 1.1 amps. And I still have 6 dots. So it's only used 4 total, 40% total. It's been running, I would say, for about 13 hours now. And we are still good to go. This will not shut itself off to protect itself until 20%. In my opinion, you could easily use this setup for days and days. Maybe not just this setup, but with solar and the extended battery bank, days and days and days of refrigeration could be had. I was a little worried that it was going to be a lot lower than what it is this morning. But my fears have been put to rest. This is barely going to make a dent in my solar setup. So I am really, really happy. Yeah, and it's a cold one today. It's probably about, let me tell you exactly. It's about 33 degrees outside. I have been hoping to avoid this cold ass weather for a long time. I got the electric heater down here, heating up the place. And I've also got the gas heater up here, trying to help me heat up this place. So, it's really cold. And just for those wondering, we are now at about hour 16, and we still have 60% left on the battery. So, it has not been, the refrigerator has not been unplugged whatsoever. Still got 60%, and if you remember, running the inverter, it's about 3/4 of an amp. So, we're about, 25, 35, about a third of an amp to maintain the temperature right now. And it's drawing roughly about 2.7 watts. That's it, boys and girls. I happened to get this refrigerator off of, I think it was Walmart.com for about $200, and I'm going to say roughly $230. Freezer compartment, ooh, it's nice and cold. And the refrigerator, it's got lots. So I've been putting some water in here because any type of mass will actually help hold in some of the cold a little bit more. And I've got one of my down blankets kind of shoved over here in this crack because none of this cabinet is insulated yet. So I had to try and cut down on the draft in behind there. So I put some Reflectix to kind of cover the vent to the outside, and I wedged that down blanket in beside there. It did alright, I guess. But my electrical heater was struggling. I mean, it's 58, so it's offsetting the cold outside by roughly, I don't know, what is it, about 25 degrees right now, but it's struggling. So I've got this thing blaring. It's just blaring. Actually, I could probably turn it on low now. Turn it down a little bit, save some of that propane, because it will heat up to about 64 today. But the plan today is to get the batteries installed, get the major solar panel wires from the panels down into the Kodiak, get that stuff ran through the cabinets and over into the garage compartment, and then after that I have to run the main terminal wires from the Kodiak over to the batteries. I'm just going to run the batteries in parallel because they're already 12-volt batteries. I ended up going with a completely different set of batteries. It's the UB12-1000. You can find them on Amazon. I think they're roughly like 144. I don't know. No, it wasn't 144. It's something like that. It's like $145, and then they charge about $15 in shipping, which is not bad because if you try and buy any of the Trojan batteries, they're charging you like hundreds of dollars to ship. So don't ever trust the price on the Trojan batteries, because even though they look pretty appealing, look at that shipping. That shipping's some bullshit, Trojan. So after I get all that stuff done, my solar setup, for the most part, is going to be completely done. I'm hoping that the components come in just a little bit early, since it is going to be kind of a nice day today. I would really like to see what kind of charge efficiency I get, how quickly it's going to bring back the charge of that lithium battery that's in the Inergy Kodiak. It should come back really, really fast. 600 watts of solar in optimum conditions will recharge that battery in about two hours. Less than optimum conditions, you're looking at maybe 3 to 5, somewhere in there, just depending. That's the beauty of lithium. It charges fast, and it holds its charge for an extremely long time, and your depth of discharge is so much greater than flooded lead acid, AGM, or gel style batteries. But lithium is redonkulously expensive. But maybe one day maybe someday soon. You never know. I mean, I do got a bunch of extra camera equipment. I could always just, you know, go for broke and buy a bunch of lithium. So at this point, I'm just gonna head back on over here to the laptop. Gonna finish editing some of my backlog footage for this channel and wait for my components to get here. Okay, so I just got my new solar extension wires in, and I just plugged them up to the Inergy Kodiak's cable. You know, we are still sitting at 40% on the Inergy Kodiak. The refrigerator has been plugged up to it since yesterday at around 4 p.m. It is now 11:36, and we still have 40% battery left. Technically, we only have about 20. The Kodiak would probably shut itself off at around 20%, but got all the solar panels hooked up. I'm just doing a test. I haven't actually officially ran these wires yet, but I did want, while the sun is out and nice and bright, and I do have a few hours of sun, to go ahead and start charging the Inergy Kodiak back up with some free electricity. So let's do this. Okay. And there we go. It is charging. Of course, this thing is putting in roughly about 37 total amps. So it will not take very long. So just remember this, at 11:36, we were at 10.63 volts. Remember, full charge on most 12-volt batteries is around 12.3 to 12.6. So we'll come back here in just a little bit and check and see what we're officially at. So it has now been roughly an hour, and we are sitting at 11.2 volts. We are up to, what is that, 70%? Yep, 70% on our battery capacity. So it is charged 30% since we first charged it up an hour ago. So 30% charge in an hour. Let's keep going. Now I'm going to head up to the store, and I need to grab some terminal cables for my batteries. So just to give you all kind of a quick idea of what I've got going on at the moment, wiring up this solar originally was supposed to have been a little bit easier. I was going to wire all 6 panels into 3 groups. 3 groups of 2 panels. I was going to run them in series, and then I was going to run the 3 groups of 2 in parallel. That would have increased my voltage and would have decreased my amperage, but it would have been a decent amount. But what I ended up having to do was, because the Inergy Kodiak can only handle 30 volts, when you combine 2 of those panels in series together, it increases the voltage up to 40 volts. And that's just too high for the Inergy Kodiak. Because it's going to be too high, I decided to just go ahead and run all the panels in parallel, which will increase the amount of current or amperage that I'm going to have in my system. So now, instead of doubling my voltage to 40 volts, all I'm basically going to do is I'm going to add all of the amperage. So when you run in parallel, you add amperage. When you run in series, you add voltage. Oh, little butterfly. I think I hit a butterfly. Poor guy. So now that I've got everything that I'm doing, I'm running it all in parallel. That means that I'm going to have a much higher current, which technically means I'm going to be able to charge things much, much faster. And if one of my panels doesn't get, or one of my panels does get shaded, it's not going to affect any of the other panels in a setup, in a series setup. But that does mean that I'm going to have to use a slightly thicker gauge wire in order to prevent heat loss, because any energy that's not collected and then utilized properly effectively just becomes heat. Just like with any sort of energy source, like the sun. The sun puts off radiant heat, and it also produces light. The same thing basically applies with your wires. When you are collecting that energy through your solar system, if you can't collect it and then transport it to its destination efficiently, that inefficiency is then released through your system as heat. In order to prevent energy loss, I'm going to use a thicker gauge cable going from the batteries to the Inergy Kodiak so that there's a minimization of power loss between the two. Ultimately, they're going to be sitting right next to each other, so I'm not going to have anything very long. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have to go over much like 8 gauge. But just because I want to maximize the efficiency of my system, I'm probably going to end up using either 4 gauge wire or 2 gauge wire. I hope all that made sense to everyone. I know that when I first started trying to understand electricity and stuff, it was pretty mind-boggling. You know, you don't really understand the terminology. You don't really understand the concepts behind electrical design. You don't really understand the concepts of electricity in general. So I mean, it's like speaking a foreign language. Like, you're just like, you've lost me. I literally have no idea what you're talking about. But it's a good skill to have. It's a good knowledge base to learn. So I got some things, and I'm already back home, and I've been working, and I haven't videotaped any of this stuff. I've just been too busy. I've been here all by myself, and it's kind of hard to actually get some stuff done and do a solar install. But I managed to run my wire from up on the roof, and I ran it into my refrigerator vent. So it comes down into this cabinet, the refrigerator cabinet down here, and I've basically just got it going through the old hole where the old ductwork was. So I really only had to drill one hole for the whole damn thing. I had to drill one hole, and then once I got into the second cabinet, hang on, it's better to show folks rather than just tell folks. Okay, so here are my 2 wires. They are coming down from the roof. I only had to drill this one hole here in the wall. Not too bad. And then once I got into this next compartment, which is where the furnace used to be. Wow, you can't see. Okay, there we go. So down here, that's where the old ductwork used to be. That hole goes straight underneath this cover where the wheel well's at, and then underneath here in this cabinet, and there it is. And then it's going right out there to the Inergy Kodiak. So now I've got the cables coming straight from the roof, easy to access, easy to maintenance, change, troubleshoot, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing like super duper hemmed up or anything. I do plan to coil these wires and kind of push them back. The only thing I am lacking at this point are my 2 batteries. And they should be here, I don't know, within the next hour or 2. UPS always gets to my place late. She's running. Oh, and right now she's charging, and she's up at about 11.84. I had the refrigerator plugged in the entire time, but I just now disconnected her maybe like 5 minutes ago. And as you can see, we've lost all of our sun. It's now like really cloudy, so I wasn't able to get like a 100% charge. But within about 3 hours or so, we went from 10.61 all the way up to 11.84 volts. About 90% charge. We're only missing the blue dot there on the very far left. And then it's all pretty much smooth sailing from there. I mean, there's really not much else to it. I mean, that's pretty much going to be my electrical setup. And the reason that I wanted to do it this way, people kept asking me, Mark, why don't you just use your MPPT charge controller and, you know, use a inverter or whatever? Well, first of all, the Inergy Kodiak's already got all of that. So, I mean, it's really a redundancy that I don't really need. Second of all, because the Inergy Kodiak has an RV plug on it already right here, when I scooch this thing in, I'm thinking about maybe putting a hole right here in the floor and running the entire RV plug up through that hole in the floor. I'm going to put like a rubber grommet, rubber flap, so that when I push the plug up through it, I'm just going to plug in right here. And I power the whole thing. The whole damn thing. And then, whatever I want plugged in or not plugged in, I can manage from inside, in comforts, without any problems. And I don't have to go, oh my God, I'm going to have to go buy another inverter for this one thing, and then I'm going to have to run some new wires, or I'm going to have extension cables and crap all over the place. Like, I've seen a lot of different setups, and a lot of people, they don't show you just how effed up their setup really is. because they might have a 40 amp MPPT charge controller, but they got like 6 inverters running all throughout the house, you know, through their RV, and they got extension cables running all along their baseboards or hidden underneath their rugs so that they don't trip on them. That's what you have to do. You have to run those extension cables all over the place, because you can only wire up those inverters and not make a mess in so many different places. With this setup, it's one box, one plug, and done. If I don't want something running in there, I just pull it out of the wall outlet. End of story. No inverters, no crazy finagling, you know, none of that stuff. Simplicity, my friends, is the key to happiness. Simplicity. Okay, it is now after dark. It's about 7:30. And the UPS guy literally just got here and dropped off my batteries. So here it is. I ended up going with the AGM style batteries. This is the UB12 1000K style batteries. They have 100 amp hours, and I got 2. That way I just run in parallel and call it good. That way I don't have to run the batteries in series, and I don't have to set them, make sure that they're outside, or I don't have to make sure that I have to vent them. Because they're AGM, I can put them right indoors, and I'm not going to sweat it. Everyone got me all freaked out about battery off-gassing, hydrogen bombs, explosions. So we're done with that. So I'm going to take this one, and the one that's still sitting outside, I'm going to link them up. And I stopped by the audio sound place. They have some of the best cable. I think I should have just went there first. He custom made me these cables right there on the spot. These are 100% copper, and they're like super flexible. So a vastly better option than what I got from Amazon. Okie dokie, artichoke, let me get to work. My day is just never ever done. And I will say, I think these are a little bit lighter. Oh, of course, nothing's light when it's dead weight, like a rock, like a brick. I don't know, probably over there. That way I can get easy access to it from outside, and then I'll just put them right next to each other like that, I think. All right, so done and done. Super simple setup, parallel to parallel, ground to ground, hot to hot, all the way to the Inergy Kodiak, and the solar panel cable is connected there. I'm going to let it go through a full charge cycle, I guess, tomorrow. Hopefully it's not going to still be raining, and we'll see how she does. I'll plug the camper in and see what kind of performance I can get out of it just on a standard day. I guess no matter what it's like tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and try it out. Just plug the whole RV in and see exactly like where my parasitic draws are at, what absolutely needs to be plugged in, what doesn't. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to call it a night. I am exhausted, but I did manage to get a lot of stuff done. I think the plan for tomorrow is insulate and trim out this refrigerator compartment. I really like those high quality audio wires. They're 4-gauge, super duper flexible. I think I might go get me a couple more of those tomorrow for my grounds. I really like those cheaper ones from Camco. You know, maybe I'll keep them as a backup or something, but realistically I think I'm just gonna ditch them, just send them back. Maybe just get 2 sets just in case I decide to expand my battery bank even further. Maybe add on another battery or 2 other batteries, just really go for broke and go that route. But today's been a long day. I'm going to call it quits, and I'm going to go to bed. Thanks so much for stopping by here and hanging out with me on another exciting episode of Avion Awesome. And I'm going to see you guys again tomorrow. Peace!